This is my presentation for my research project for SPCM 1311, Introduction to Communication with Dr. Belton. Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10. 9. Yeah, 10. 9. Don't mind my hand, actually. I'm going to be scrolling through. I have some notes posted for my video here, but actually I did the communication, the role of communication in the workplace. And I talked about actually 3 different theories and 3 different scenarios that I think are really important to how we carry out a proper and effective role of communication in the workplace. I've worked in various places, from service industry to production assistant in a magazine to sales representative at like AT&T. But the first actual issue that kind of came to mind was I wanted to discuss the importance of initial communication from the very beginning. And by initial, obviously. Communication from the very beginning I think is important because we all have problems. Not necessarily even problems, like things that alert us, things that we don't like, things that aren't culturally the same as us or what we're used to, that we really kind of brush under the rug for a little bit of the beginning, and they really don't kind of come to light until a bit later on because of the fact that we're either distracted by something in the beginning. Meaning, what I mean by all this is, I think it's good to kind of address our issues or anything, communicate those to the people around us, our supervisors, our coworkers, managers, all things like that. I think it's good to kind of address these issues to them in the beginning. Therefore, they know if there's any future issues that you already were kind of worrying about that. And the theory that I did with this one was the face negotiation theory. I said, the theory states that it is concerned with how people in individualistic and collectivistic cultures negotiate face in complex situations. The theory is based on face management, which describes how people from different cultures manage conflict negotiation in order to maintain face. Self-face and other face concerns explain the negotiation between people in various cultures. And it kind of states a lot about conflict, but I necessarily don't think it always has to deal with conflict. It can just deal about with personal issues, good or bad. Anyway, secondly, I talked about how every establishment or company that I've ever been a part of, I've learned that it is essential to have some type of public forum where all the employees can interact and make messages public. Example, I had an editor at our previous magazine that I worked for here in Tyler that she was not very technologically savvy. She didn't know how to use any Adobe program. She didn't know how to really do much other than type. She was a great writer and great editor, but she didn't really know how to do much more than that. And we actually proofed our magazine literally by printing it out on rounds and writing in Sharpie, like, fix this, and we go through round after round. It was so inefficient. It was efficient in that we got things done, but it was inefficient in time-wise, and it just needed to be fixed. So we did Adobe Editor, I think is what it's called. Or Adobe, I don't remember, Adobe Word, but it basically was just like a document where you could go in and edit things there and shift them to different computers. Well, she didn't know how to use this at all. She didn't know what to do, and she didn't let us know until like a little bit later on in the project, so it put our whole press date behind by like 3 days. And this really could have been avoided if we all had known that there was an issue going on at hand. I understand that she was under this, I knew that she was going through this because I was shared an office with her, and I was like kind of helping her because I had taken some classes on it. But nobody else around us knew what was going on. And I thought that this was a very good example of how everybody in the institution, everybody in the company needs to know what's going on, especially when it's a crucial part like that. So what we actually did is we got an app called Voxer, which I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that, but it's you could share files, you could share pictures, audio, text, anything, and it would basically blurt out to all of our phones, so we could all, have an update, have a message, know what's going on projects, and etc. So that really, really helped. And the theory that I put along with this one was the organizational information theory. The main activity of organizations is the process of making sense of equivocal information. Organizational members accomplish this sense-making process through enactment, selection, and retention of information. Organizations are successful to the extent that they are able to reduce equivocality through these means. Thirdly, one of the most important roles, I think, which is why I talked about it last, would be the role of how easily individuals deal with personal problems inside and outside the workplace, whether it's with someone else, a project, or something that's going on inside or outside work. I think a lot of people bring their problems to work, and then they create more problems within work. And this is something that I experienced firsthand everywhere I've worked. Basically, people have issues with certain things and they don't really get them addressed, so that they come into work and they let it affect the work, which it generally affects everybody. Um, so I know this is easier said than done. Leave it at the door. A lot of times in the car. I had to go to the car many times and just like yell. A lot of the times I was so frustrated with someone or some project I was working on that wasn't working out my way. But a lot of people handle it differently. Some people will close up and they won't talk about it at all, and they will literally not talk to anyone or anything, and it just kind of makes it awkward for everybody. And then some people just, all they do is sit around and just cry or yell or are mad at other people, and they show it, and it's just really not effective. Either way, it's just not effective. It doesn't get work done, and it doesn't show a good sense of communication between you as a whole group of, a company. I actually included a third theory in here. I talked about how it was the expectancy violation theory, which examines how nonverbal messages and structures are structured. The theory advances when communicative norms are violated. The violation may be perceived either favorably or unfavorably, depending on the perception that the receiver has from the violator. Violating another's expectations may be a strategy used of conforming to another's expectations. Basically, what that related to me was that the theory kind of states how sometimes people have different ways of dealing with problems, and if we expect them to react a certain way, if we expect them to just understand what's going on, then how is that an effective way of communicating our work and what we're trying to accomplish at our job? So all in all, I think there can be so many outlets to properly deal with various roles of communication, and from every angle it can either make or break a company pretty much. But in the end of the day, it's really something that can't go long without being addressed, for sure. But that's all I have today, so thank you.